sweet loves. Welcome to the Heroines Path podcast, a sacred space for awakening women wishing to transcend limitations, blaze their own trail, and return to divine wholeness. I'm Cece, healing priestess, transformation mentor, and spiritual coach, and I'll be your guide as we go on this quest of reclamation, activation, and ascension. Together we'll dive into heart-centered wisdom, mystical stories, illuminating tools, and masculine-feminine dynamics across the areas of life, love, and business. See this podcast as part of a soulful new pilgrimage, a journey to meet your highest self. Remember, you're a self-leading queen, and no one knows you better than you, so receive what your soul needs and leave the rest. Heroine, it's time to forget who you've been taught to be and become all that you were born to be. Let's take one another by the hand. Together we rise. Morning, my loves. How are you? Welcome back to the Heroines Path podcast. I've got such a special episode for you today, and I feel in such a delicious mood. I'm so excited to guide you through this. It's beautiful here. I'm looking out of the window and it's gorgeous sunshine. It's hot. I can feel the heat rising. And I'm actually spending a day of adorning myself. I'm going to get my nails done, going to get some new jewelry, and going to get some new makeup because my brother is getting married on Saturday this weekend. So super exciting to have a full day to myself, just pampering and really dropping into sensuality and beauty and feminine adornment. But before I do, I want to have a conversation with you about intellectualism versus embodiment. Intellectualism versus embodiment when it comes to the path of feminine awakening, when it comes to the path of really bringing that feminine energy out of yourself, really remembering all of that part of yourself and then calling it forward into your life. And there are two ways that we can approach this. Now, you may have heard the word embodiment thrown around quite a bit. It's definitely become a more popular word in the industry the last couple of years. And it's something that is becoming more and more relevant and interesting to me as I deepen my practice, my own practice, and as I incorporate it more and more into my work as well. So I will hold my hands up, full disclosure, and say that I have traditionally been somebody who has approached things from an intellectual standpoint. And I'm sure lots of you will relate because we are raised in a society where we go to school and it's all about memorizing things and then proving how much you can remember. You have to write essays and you have to show up and do an exam. And then as long as you pass that, and it's all in like your short-term memory, then you can kind of forget about it afterwards and you've got the certificate to prove it. So we're raised in a society that really values intellectualism, and we've forgotten what it means to have embodied wisdom or body-based wisdom. Of course, we can see the duality already appearing between intellectualism, the mind, the masculine frequency, the yang frequency, and embodiment, the body, feeling, and the feminine frequency or the yin frequency. So it goes without saying that we already know we live in a world where masculine values are prioritized and focused upon. And so, of course, the feminine frequency of embodiment has taken a backseat. So when I started my feminine awakening journey, when I started to really, I've always been really interested in mythology and goddesses and gods and fairy tales and witches and queens. And I've always been fascinated by what I now know to be archetypal storytelling. And I think lots of us are, because it's human nature. The way that we understand what it means to be a human is we dive into stories. We tell each other stories. We go and watch films, we read books, we sit around the fire, read each other's stories, That's what humans have been doing for time immemorial. So, of course, we're all into it, but some of us like myth a little bit more than others. And I definitely am that person. And I think it's just because I picked up a book of Greek myths when I was really young, and I was just fascinated by it. And something in my psyche just was like, yes, this is interesting to me. I recognize this. I understand this. And it's just been a thread. It's been a golden thread throughout my whole life. So, when I approached my feminine awakening journey, like I say, full disclosure, came from a very intellectualized standpoint. I read a lot about the divine feminine. I was always Googling about it, always looking at, what it means, really understanding the history of it. And I've posted a fair bit about that on my Instagram. So if you're interested in, and actually the first episode of this podcast covers a lot of that too. So if you're interested in learning like the history of the feminine, of the divine feminine, then go and check out both my Instagram and the first episode of this podcast. So I was very intellectualized. Like I could tell you what the divine feminine was, but when it came to actually embodying it in my own life, that was a part that I found more difficult. Partly because there's resistance to dropping into a new way of doing things, and partly because it's really safe for you to exist in your mind. It's so safe for you to exist in your mind where it's all about logic, and it's much more scary to drop down into your heart where you actually have to feel everything. And there will be years and years of built up emotion because everything is stored in the body. There's an amazing book called The Body Keeps the Score, which you've probably heard of, which explains how all the trauma that we experience is stored in our body. So dropping down into the heart is scary. There's so much there that we have to feel. And even scarier still for many of us is dropping down into our hips, into our wombs, into our vulvas, into our vaginas. Yeah. That feels really scary because there might be a lot of shame and pain there. We might be scared and fearful of actually feeling and experiencing our own pleasure. And so many of us, like when we dance, we literally just dance with our arms, right? And it's like we dance from our head. We don't dance from our hips. We don't dance from our womb or even our heart, And that's what some other cultures on the planet have, a much more embodied, sensual way of expressing themselves and moving. It's much more accepted in other societies. Latin America, for example. One of my friends is married to a Colombian, and we went to a wedding down in Colombia, their wedding. And I was just so blown away by how the adults were putting us to shame on the dance floor. Like they were up and winding and salsaing and grooving and moving. The women were so sensual and so sexy, and they were twice our age, if not more so. And that was when I was like, wow, there is like something alive here that I don't know if I've experienced myself, because I haven't allowed myself to. And because the culture that we exist in does not prioritize sensual, emotional ways of moving and expressing yourself through the world. So I was very intellectualized. And slowly but surely, I started to get this feeling of being almost like an imposter a little bit, like very much able to talk about these things and not necessarily practicing it so much in my own life. We're going back a few years now. So what I decided to do was start really looking at how I could bring the divine feminine and embody her in my life. And what we mean by embodiment is simply being in your body, feeling what it feels like to exist in your body, feeling where there are any points of tension, asking your body to give you any messages or any nudges that you might need, consulting your body when it comes to decision making. If you're anything like me when you were more disembodied, and you may even relate to this now, is going round and round and round your mind trying to make a decision. And it might be about dating someone, it might be about the guy that you're seeing or someone you're seeing. And something doesn't feel right, but you're kind of over logicizing. I don't even know if logicizing is a word. Going over and over, rationalizing, that's it, rationalizing in your mind over and over again. Is this right? Should I leave? Should I stay? What should I do? When it's like your body already knows. Or when it's like you want to leave your job perhaps, or you want to take a big next step in creating your own business or a passion project. And you're scared and fearful, but something in your body is telling you to take that leap. And the more we resist it, the more disembodied we become, the more we invite the wounded feminine into our lives. And that looks like eating our emotions. So stuffing our emotions down with food, overeating to compensate or numb ourselves out from feeling what's actually there. It looks like having sex or having relationships with partners who are toxic and damaging for our energy and for our body. It looks like our self-worth slowly trickling away, down and down and down and down. And it looks like being really disconnected from your intuition and from your own emotions. And that can leave you feeling cold, feeling brittle, feeling burnt out. You don't know when enough is enough. You're overworking. There's always a consumption element with the wounded feminine because the feminine wants to be full. The feminine loves more, more, more. And it's only when she has a healthy integrated inner masculine that she can actually know and set the container around herself as to when enough is enough. But without that containership and without that integrity and without that understanding, without that connection between your mind, your heart, your womb, without that full body connection, you will struggle to know when enough is enough. And you will overwork, you will overthink, you'll overeat, you'll overdrink, you'll over everything until you're completely lost and disembodied from who you truly are. And so sometimes our feminine awakening feels like a stripping away, actually, feels like a stripping away of comfort blanket after comfort blanket after comfort blanket. And once we've returned to neutral, and once we've reestablished that connection between mind, throat, heart, womb, yoni, the full body connection, then we can start to ask ourselves, okay, what do I want to amplify? What do I want more of? How can I feel more of my desires and have them magnetized to me? But it's not like an overconsumption from the outside. It's a filling up from within. It's a spilling over from within. So that the way you move into a room, you don't even need to say anything, and there's a magnetism there. There's an energy there. Your energy field speaks for you. You can do less and attract more. And that's become another really popular phrase that's just overused. And people are like, eye roll. What does that even mean? But honestly, when you understand that the feminine is your energy, the feminine is your emotions, it's your depth of feeling, how much can you feel your sadness? Like how far can you push it? Like how sad can you really feel when you feel sad? And not only tell people that you're sad, not only say, I feel so sad, but be sad. Show us what it looks like. Show us what sadness looks like for you. This is a really important practice of mine that I've been playing a lot with in the past few months. If I feel overwhelmed, I ask myself, what does overwhelmed look like right now? And I move or I put a song on that makes me feel like I can express overwhelm. Or it might be something more beautiful and sensual. You know, what does sensuality look like right now? And I might engage in a breast massage practice or just touch myself in a tender way. You know, touch my skin, allow myself to feel everything, the sensations of my fingertips against my arm. Or even moving into something more sexual, like a self-pleasure practice, but taking it slow, not being disembodied and rushing through and just getting to the orgasm, which is something I definitely used to do. I was so disembodied when I was in my wounded maiden years that it was like, I wouldn't even connect with my body in any way on my turn on at all. And it would just be like, watch porn, get to the orgasm. It was such a disembodied connection. I could almost read the news at the same time. You know, I was so unpresent from my own pleasure. I was so ashamed to even be desiring to have that pleasure that I would pretend it wasn't happening. And so when we approach the divine feminine, yes, we can read books about it. Yes, we can learn about it on Instagram. Yes, we can pull divine feminine oracle cards. Yes, we can have conversations about it. But when you realize and recognize that your magnetism, your ability to call in your desires, which is a vibrational practice. When you recognize that that all comes from your body, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have up there. It doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter how many arguments or debates or conversations that you can triumph in about the divine feminine. If you aren't moving different, if you aren't feeling the depth of your emotions, if you aren't making spaciousness in your life for pleasure and sensuality, if you aren't tuning in to your body-based wisdom and allowing not only yourself to hear your intuition, but allowing it to influence your decisions and your choices and your actions, then you just are a walking book and you're still operating from the neck up. And I can honestly guarantee, and this is, I speak from experience, as soon as you start dropping in, and it doesn't take long, we're about to drop into a practice now. As soon as you start dropping in, the answers come through so quickly. They come through so quickly because your body already knows, because your body is already it. Your body, your feminine energy, your soul is already all of the infinite possibilities for your life. And your divine self, your highest self, has already seen every possible outcome and potentiality and is trying to communicate to you through your emotions. It's all about how you feel. It's about sensation. It's about sensitivity. It's about feelings. It's in your body. And that's why there are women out there who've never had any certifications, who've never even really read anything about the divine feminine, but they are so magnetic. And they seem to call in and conjure up the life of their dreams without even doing anything, resting and pleasuring and being. You have no idea how powerful your energy is. And you will only know once you give yourself permission to drop in and start to chip away at the edges and allow yourself to experience it from within. So without further ado, I'd love for you to put everything aside and find a comfortable space. Making sure that your back is straight and that your legs are uncrossed. And if it feels good, you can place both hands open on your lap. Or if you could prefer, you can place your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your womb space. Just allowing yourself to arrive here in this moment. Letting all thoughts of the day so far melt away with every breath. Letting go of any to-do lists or tasks that need to be done today. Knowing and fully trusting that everything that needs to get done will get done. Taking a nice deep inhale through the nose, and sending that breath into your heart space. Feeling it open your rib cage as the breath fills you up. Allowing your shoulders to open, allowing your back to expand, and emptying out on the exhale. And with your next inhale, sending that breath down through your throat, filling your heart space as before, but pushing it down even further, pushing it down into your womb. Sending it right down, releasing any tension in your vulva, releasing any tension around the perineum, letting yourself root down into your chair. And as you continue to breathe here, feel the breath as it makes its way in through the nose, down through your throat, through your heart space, and right down into your root. And send the breath up, back out the way it came. And on your next inhale, when the breath reaches your heart space, allow yourself to open and expand here. Allow yourself to feel any tension melting away. You may like to imagine a colored light sparking in the center of your chest. And with every breath, that light grows brighter and brighter. Maybe it's a peachy color. Maybe it's a blue or a green. Maybe it's bright white or deep ruby red. And imagine that color spreading through all of your veins now, traveling down through your body. Lighting up every cell as it moves down through your hips, warming you and opening you as it sends its way down through your thighs, trickling down through your calves and down through your feet into the earth. And with this color pulsating around your body now, send your awareness to any part of you that's feeling any tension, any resistance, or any stuckness. Allow the color and your breath to grow brighter in the areas where there's any tension. Feel as the warmth of this light melts that tension away and opens you up even more. Allowing your energy to flow unobstructed through your body. If you feel any emotions rising, know that that is totally normal and perfect. Trust that whatever is coming up for you is what you need to experience today. If you can feel happy and joyful emotions rising, then allow yourself to move into a smile. Allow your head to tilt back slightly and open your mouth in an act of surrender. Just breathe. Notice how good it feels to be alive in your body today. Notice how beautiful it feels to simply be. If you can feel any sadness or any negative emotions rising, know that that's okay too. And if it starts to feel overwhelming, bring a hand to your heart space, to your chest, and just rub circular motion in a clockwise direction. Knowing that you are safe. You are so loved. And you deserve to take this time to be with your body, to be with yourself. Taking one final inhale now, sending all of the light and the warmth and the energy that's been conjured up for you within your own body, sending that down into your womb space now. Your womb, the magical portal of all creation. The Holy Grail. Your cauldron of manifestation and magnetism. Allowing all of that light and all of that energy to swirl around in your womb space now, swirling faster and faster. Placing both hands in a downwards triangle with your thumbs at your belly button and your forefingers pointing down towards your pubic bone. And when you can feel that your attention is landed in your womb space, ask simply, what is it that I'm not seeing right now? What is it that I'm not seeing right now? This message might come to you as words, as an image, or as just a deep inner knowing. When you've received the message from your womb, when you feel that you know what it is that you've not been seeing, what it is your body's been trying to tell you, thank your womb space for offering up this wisdom. And send your breath back up and out through your heart. And activating your throat chakra now, say aloud the message that you've received. Amazing. Give yourself a big hug. Shake your hands. Shake everything out. Notice how good it feels to check in and receive that wisdom from within. Your very own Google. Your very own inner wise woman. Always there for you. Always waiting for you. Always ready to offer up exactly what it is that you need. My loves, it's been an honor to guide you through this short embodiment practice today and to talk to you a little bit about intellectualism and embodiment. I hope that this episode inspires you to look at perhaps the areas of your life where you have intellectualized something, but maybe not fully embodied it, and how you could start to bring more practices into your life to bring forward the flow of that energy and to start to move and be the knowledge rather than just know and speak about the knowledge. If this is something you want to dive deeper on, I have a beautiful bundle of embodiment rituals called the Feminine Alchemist. They are 7 rituals ranging from 25 minutes to 60 minutes, and they are all named after different feminine archetypes, from the priestess to the child to the queen, the warrioress, and so on. They will guide you through different embodiment journeys, embodying the acts of forgiveness, embodying your inner sovereignty, embodying your inner child, and more. So if you are interested in not just knowing about your own feminine energy, not just reading about your feminine energy, not just talking about your healing, but actually embodying it and really shifting from within, if you are interested in changing the frequency of your energy, and actually raising your vibration, letting things go so that your vibrational point changes, then do have a look on my website, coachbyscc.com/the-feminine-alchemist. The link will also be in the show notes, and you can always purchase this bundle from the link in my Instagram bio as well. As always, I'm open to any questions, any feedback, and I would absolutely love if you've enjoyed this episode. Please do share it on your Instagram stories and tag me so that I can share it and love up on you. And if you think that this would benefit a sister that you know, please do spread the feminine energy and send this episode to somebody that you think would enjoy it, someone who you think needs to drop into their body, someone who you think needs to take a few minutes for themselves. Sending you so much love as always, heroine, and I will see you on the next episode.